I have big news, very big news. We have a fall tour. It has come together, and I am going to new cities that I've never been to before, and I am finally getting back to California. Irvine, California, San Diego, California. I actually have tour dates in your cities. Also, Tulsa, Oklahoma. Very excited about these cities. I am also going to Nashville, Atlanta, Boston, Hartford, Seattle, and Portland, with more cities to come, including a big, I think I'm going to get Wyoming on the county. Yeah. And Fulwiler Nation in Wyoming we're building. So will it maybe be a private event with me just telling jokes in a more conversational style to my one fan who lives in Wyoming, perhaps. But the ones that are on sale now, we have tickets on sale for Nashville, Atlanta, Tulsa, Boston, Hartford, San Diego, Irvine, and maybe by the time you hear this, Seattle and Portland. We're working on those last two. The links are in the show notes, and tickets are available. Also, those links are at jfcomedytour.com. That's jfcomedytour.com. I'm very, very excited to have some of these new cities on there. And I was telling Caitlin, I have a really good feeling about this tour for no reason, because nothing in my life has been going particularly well. But I feel like this tour is going to be really good based on nothing, based on no trajectory of events, based on no evidence. It's just a vibe. Yeah. It's just a vibe. Which brings us to, I have been going through it. I don't know why I thought this summer was going to be a laid back, relaxing summer. I envisioned a Lana Del Rey sort of summer, not with the, dating problematic men who are 30 years older than me, not that Lana Del Rey vibe, but the Lana Del Rey vibe of being very feminine and luxuriating and just, wearing a sundress. And you guys know I can't wear dresses because I feel uncomfortable if the skin on my legs touches each other. But somehow in my fantasies, I was going to be Lana Del Rey in a sundress. I don't know. I had it all in my mind, and it has ended up being a summer of just one massive problem after another, just getting beat up by this event and that event, and we barely get this one issue under control, and then another issue pops up. It is whack-a-mole in hell has been this summer. And that is why we have had 2 reruns of this show, 2 best of episodes, should we say. And that is, to be honest, it's because I have just been overwhelmed by a lot of issues. But we are finding ways to thrive in the midst of it. I mean, not like a lot. I mean, there's been a lot of just being miserable and having a tough time, but we are nevertheless finding ways to thrive. And so I'm going to talk a little bit about that, and a little bit about staying true to the most fabulous version of yourself, even in hard times. And that is a challenge, right? That feels hard to connect with. Caitlin has also had a bit of a rough time. And do you feel connected to the most fabulous, beautiful Lana Del Rey version of yourself right now?
Not at all.
I know. Yeah. The way I look right now, which you would see if you're one of my 5 YouTube viewers, is not how I have been bumming around my house. It has been a rough go of things, but I have been using some of the many techniques I have learned over the years to not completely spiral, and they have been working to some extent. They have been working. One of them is, and again, this is the main topic, so we'll go into it in the latter half of the show. But one of them is something that Tim Ferriss once so eloquently pointed out, that you have to realize how many of your thoughts and the stories that you tell yourself are not fully connected to reality. We have talked about this before, but it is really worth emphasizing for anyone else going through a hard time. Tuck this away. if you're not going through a hard time, if you're one of my enemies who is just thriving and having one opportunity after another, just doors opening, money falling out of the sky into your lap, you might have a hard time in the future. And so just tuck this away for that time. So many of the thoughts that roll around in our head are not accurate, and they're not true. And while I take a sip from this drinking apparatus that my pride will not let me admit was maybe not the most convenient thing to drink out of on a podcast, but I'm so committed to staying on brand and committing to the bit that I will now take a sip from it, which takes fully 20 to 30 seconds. Again, the link is on YouTube in the show notes. You can click through to watch this exact episode. While I do the whole ordeal of taking a sip from my drinking apparatus, let's listen to what Tim Ferriss says. This is him talking about what it was like when he came to realize that so many of the thoughts that he tortures himself with, so much of the negativity that rolls around in his head every day is simply not accurate.
Like, oh my, like, look at this circus, this like panopticon of fantasy horrors that I create for myself every day. This is ludicrous. Now I'm just aware of the clown car that's driving through my head all day.
I love the clown car that's driving through my head. I actually had to look up what is a panopticon, and I still kind of forget what it is. It's like, I guess it's like an arena, something like where gladiators would fight. Anyway, it's a crazy place. But I love that panopticon of fantasy horrors. And then he goes into the analogy of a clown car running through your head. And one of the things I'm realizing this summer is that when you really focus on the legitimate things that are going wrong in your life, it really gets that clown car rolling downhill, and it picks up speed. And it's a tough thing for those of us who live village life, who are, we've got kids, or maybe you're taking care of your parents, or you're deeply involved in your church. You are inextricably connected to other people and their lives and their emotions. And you cannot just cut yourself off and decide, you're going to take a spa day just for you because you live in a village and there is this interdependency, and it's not that easy to just block out all these problems that have to do with other people and making sure that they are okay, and real problems. We can't just ignore them, and we can't just block them out. When you are a parent, you have real responsibilities. And again, this is also true even for single people, even for people who don't have kids. Really, anyone listening to this podcast, you have real difficult responsibilities. You are trying to build something, and you cannot simply block out your problems. Now, the issue there is that when you focus on them too much, you end up in the panopticon of fantasy horrors, which is especially confusing because we can't figure out what a panopticon is. And honestly, I don't care enough to Google. I could have Caitlin Google. You know what? Google. Okay, now I'm curious. You end up in the clown car, or having a clown car running through your head, whatever the analogy is. And this is the big thing that I have been trying to watch. I have been trying to address the many, many problems that are just raining down upon me this summer, one after another, and address them efficiently, but not turn it into the Game of Thrones narrative, as I am wont to do. Not turn it into, not connect it to my unresolved trauma and the same stories that I love telling myself because of their familiarity. For example, you guys know that I have issues because of just being very isolated as a kid, being bullied, never fitting in, being an only child who moved a lot. It is very easy for me to tell myself a story of social rejection, of failure, bombing on stand-up comedy shows doesn't help. I mean, you could, sometimes it's like, well, I have it on video actually that I was socially rejected, but it's very easy for me to go into those narratives. On the other hand, I know someone who, their family always struggled with money. They had a substance abuse issues father who would make comments like, you're never going to amount to anything. Nobody in this family amounts to anything. You're a loser. We're all losers. And so this person, if they have the slightest financial setback, if they lose a $5 bill, very easily the soundtrack of their epic horror fantasy TV show that is constantly playing in their head starts, and the theme of that show is you're destined to be poor, you're bad with money, you're a loser, and it's very easy for them to go down this line, this particular narrative, because it is a narrative that is so familiar to them from childhood. And that is what our particular, whatever analogy you want to use, TV show, clown car, panopticon of horrors, it will tend to be stories that are very familiar to you from your past, especially if there is some pain there that you never fully addressed. All right, what's a panopticon?
Oh, it's a circular prison with cells arranged around a central wall from which prisoners could, at all times be observed.
I feel like I'd like to be in a panopticon, not like just, I'd like to go to prison. I think that sounds refreshing. I think I need a break.
Yeah.
I need a break,
yep.
Honestly,
Send me to jail.
Yeah. I saw a documentary about someone in prison being thrown into solitary confinement, and I was like, why do some people have all the luck? I mean, I need that kind of break in my life. It's been that kind of summer that I'm jealous of people in prison. I'm like, I'm ready. I'm ready to go. And if people keep annoying me, we might get there. I might actually have, I might snap. I might actually snap. So that's the main topic today. This idea of how to ride those waves. A lot of analogies in the first 12 minutes of this episode. How to ride those waves of when life hits you with some real nonsense. How do you get through it, maintaining your inner sense of fabulousness and not losing yourself in the panopticon of horrors? So that will be the main topic today. As usual, we get to that in the latter part of the show. Welcome to the Jen Fulwiler Show. I am your host, Jen. I am a best-selling author, stand-up comic, mom of 6, and hanging on by a thread. My mental health is hanging on by a thread. This is the podcast where you learn the art of the village hustle. That's being a hot girl boss, or hot boy boss who knows that love and family and community are the foundations of all true success. Caitlin White is our lovely producer, also struggling. Yep. So this is a real, this is not one of those podcasts where myself and my producer are like, ladies, I was having a bad day. And you know what I did? I got a mani-pedi and I feel much better. Like, not right. Yeah, Caitlin's showing her. Yeah. No, not happening. Just a reminder that this podcast is available on all platforms, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, as well as YouTube. And if you are listening on one of the audio platforms, we have a link in the show notes where you can switch over to the video version on YouTube, accessible to anyone totally for free. If you want to see my drinking apparatus, if you want to see the clips we're playing, you can click on over to this exact episode. I also do a Patreon where I have bonus content, and I was talking in a little more detail about some of my recent mental health struggles. And in episode 99, I did a I don't think my microphone is picking this up, but yeah, it's just that we'd had a couple conversations about noise while I'm recording the podcast, and I don't know if they are watching a movie right outside my door that is a combination of the movie Saw and Alien. But they kind of have it on full volume, and like I said, might end up getting my prison wish. After all, where was I, Kate? Oh, Patreon. Let's show the before and after of the makeup I did. This is my makeup when I need to feel a little more human, but I don't want to do a full glam look. So you can see the before looking a little bit homeless, and then the after. It's not glam makeup like I'm wearing now. It's just the all natural, like, oh, I don't even have any makeup on sort of look that I actually have a lot of makeup on. And I showed you guys how to do it. And I went into a lot of detail about how to handle mental health struggles and some of the stuff I'd been struggling with. Patreon.com/thisisjen. That's patreon.com/thisisjen. And that is episode 99 of the Village Hustle level of the Patreon, where you can find that. And we do weekly content. There's all sorts of great bonus content up there. Okay, let's hit some intro topics. Some of you guys who are fellow citizens of the Catholic ghetto might have heard a friend of ours who needs just prayers. I don't know if they're really asking for financial support, but she needs a lot of prayers, is Laura Horn. She is the wife of Trent Horn, he's a Catholic apologist. If you guys don't know that word, it doesn't mean you like apologize for Catholics, although, I mean, there's not to say that we couldn't have that as a job too. But he explains Catholicism. He is also a convert to the faith like myself. And I know I've met Trent Horn quite a few times. I have a very positive impression of him. I've always liked him. I've always liked his content. And I know Laura, like she's an online acquaintance, but I have a very positive impression of her as well. And she was diagnosed with a brain tumor. Oh. She is 34 years old and she has 3 little kids. So she needs your prayers. They're asking for the intercession of Venerable Al Schwartz. If you guys are not Catholic and don't know why we Catholics ask for intercessions of people, that's what join Trent Horn's Patreon to support the family, and then you can figure out why we do that. Honestly, I'm too exhausted to explain it, but just know we're asking for the prayers of Venerable Al Schwartz. And okay, first of all, I just want to show, since I occasionally speak on Catholic podcast bros, male Catholic speakers who I don't always have a positive impression of all of them. I just want to highlight a really positive and beautiful example of Trent Horn and Laura Horn talking about her diagnosis and her talking about her husband as a really very well-known, highly respected intellectual, having this moment of, wow, the rubber meets the road. I mean, he has done a lot of speaking and talking very eloquently and very beautifully about the mystery of suffering. Why does a loving God allow suffering? Why do good people have bad things happen to them? Obviously, these are very difficult questions. He has debated atheists about them. And I thought this was really beautiful, what they were saying on his YouTube channel. It's called The Council of Trent. I highly recommend following it, watching this video. It's the one that says it's cancer in the thumbnail. They're talking about the cancer diagnosis. It's a beautiful video that they made, but I just wanted to play this for you guys to balance out my horrible example of faith and just show some people who are really living it.
But Trent, though, through every single moment of doubt I have had. And so, like, when I thought it was benign and I found out that it wasn't benign, I sobbed that night and I was really mad at God. I was like, we prayed for some suffering, but I didn't want to die. I'm 34 years old and I have 3 small children. Yeah. And he was like, Laura, we don't know how many days we're given. And I mean, how scandalous would it be if he debated people like Alex O'Connor, on this problem of suffering? And he's like, we don't know God's ways. And then he didn't actually believe it when push came to shove and his wife has brain cancer. But I can say, like, with full confidence, Trent actually believes what he is telling people.
They're just so wonderful. And regardless of what your religious beliefs are, just pray for them. And don't say you're going to send thoughts and vibes. Just pray. Come on, just pray. They're just a great couple. She's very funny. She's a humorist. She has done a lot of humorous videos. Oddly enough, they got attacked by some real internet weirdos earlier this year, and they really handled it with grace. They're just a wonderful couple. But there are a couple of comments I want to make. One is they're such a beautiful example of people living out faith, and in particular the Catholic faith, let me tell you part of what they say in that video, which again, I highly recommend you look up. It's the Council of Trent is his YouTube channel that he's primarily on YouTube, and go watch that video. That gives them a little extra ad revenue from YouTube. The whole video is great. But one of the things that Laura says in there is, you're not going to believe this. This is honestly, they kind of glossed over this because they're so walking with the Lord that this probably feels normal to them. I was floored when I heard this aspect of Laura's story. So get this, Caitlin. I haven't told you this. Laura had no symptoms, none. The way she found out that she has this, I believe it's called a glioma. It's very serious and very important to catch early. She had no symptoms, but they felt inspired to be part of a medical study where I think, if I'm understanding it correctly, in order to do the study thing, they have to clear you. You do a bunch of blood work and PET scans and MRIs and whatever, and then you can be in the study and you get $400. So they thought, hey, why not? You get a free workup and some money. That's kind of nice in this day and age to get paid to have healthcare. That would be amazing. But what a random thing to do. From what I understand, this is not something that they normally took part in. This is not something they had done before. I mean, that is not. Let's establish that is not a normal thing that people do. To even find out about, honestly, I'd probably do it. I just never hear about these kind of studies. So they felt inspired to do it. So she's just going through the clearance. You know, she's a 34-year-old health nut. She does that. She was saying that she does the all natural deodorant and everything. I mean, she is a health nut. So, and she's so vibrant and smart and witty. And so obviously she's thinking she's going to breeze through these tests. And it was the MRI where they said, actually, we can't clear you for this study because we see something on the MRI. They couldn't tell her what it was because the study was not intended to diagnose anything. So they sent her off to some other people, and that is how she found out. She had no symptoms. It is only because she participated in that study that they found this as early as they did, which gives her a much more positive prognosis. That just floored me. And I think that this is an example, and I'm so grateful to them for sharing their story. They did not have to go into all these details. And I think it's a really great witness, and it's something to highlight to people. If you have family members or your kids or people struggling with faith, you just see these kind of examples in people who walk with God, that they just get an inspiration. And it, on the outside looking in, it makes them look like they have magical powers or they're psychic or something. Like, how did you know to participate in this study? That's crazy. But it's just, when you're like Trent and Laura Horn and you really work to be close to the divine and to let go of the banal things of this world and just really focus on God, you end up getting these kinds of inspiration that just nudge you the right direction. And it doesn't mean that your life will be perfect. Obviously, they have a very serious problem on their hands, but it does mean you will see God walking with you and opening doors for you in ways that there's just simply no way they could have orchestrated that on their own. So I thought that was one really beautiful witness that they shared in that video. And the second thing I want to say is, for anyone who isn't part of any kind of faith community or anything like that, this is another pitch to just go ahead and become Catholic. You don't just take my word for it, guys. It's the right one. Okay, look, Trent was also an agnostic. I was an atheist. We're both pretty smart people. Just convert to Catholicism because, and you can figure it out later. You can read all this stuff later. But the reason you should is because you can get close to God. Of course, that's the only reason. Real presence of the Eucharist, all that. But here's a practical thing, and this is something that I really highlight to my children, is God designed the church to be a family. It is meant to, it's not like a place you work. It's not like IBM or Microsoft. It is a family with all the messes that come with family. But because it is a family, when you are part of this family, especially if you are involved in it. You're going to some Catholic events. You follow some Catholic public figures. You go to the Eucharistic Congress or whatever. You are actively trying to be part of this community. When you have that connection, it really is like you are part of a big, wide, extended family. And that is something that hits me so hard. And I so emphasize to my children, because as you guys know, I'm an only child. My father was an only child. My mom has siblings, but interestingly, my mom and her brothers and sisters did not have cousins, which is very unusual for that generation. Both of her parents only had one sibling, and neither one of those siblings had children. So I come from, we're tail end of the demographic apocalypse. We just don't have a lot of extended family, but we have the Catholic Church. And when I've had kids who have had ups and downs in faith, I always say, even if you feel very, very disconnected from God, don't forget that just on a pure earthly level, you are still part of this family. And that means something. And one of the first things that got me thinking about it is a friend of mine talked about how she was traveling, I believe it was in Turkey, and some riots broke out. And the situation that she had thought that she would be able to stay in, I forget where she was supposed to be staying or going to the airport or something. But she was a woman traveling alone, and things got pretty dire pretty quickly. And she was able to go to a convent she saw. She saw that there was a Catholic convent. And because she's Catholic and pretty deep in the Catholic ghetto, she was able to connect with them. Like, oh, my bishop knows this bishop who knows your bishop, all the way from, I forget where she's from, but somewhere in middle America. And she was able to connect with the people in this convent in Turkey, just find some random person, I guess, who spoke English and was able to get this from her. And I was trying to think, if that had happened to me when I was a young atheist, I guess I would have just died or something. I don't know. There would be no sense of, I have no connection to anything in this country. But when you are Catholic, there's this very, very cohesive, very specific, very identifiable family that is worldwide that you're always a part of. So to take it back to Trent and Laura Horn, one of the other things that's very interesting about their video that I recommend that you watch is how much the Catholic ghetto set them up with the doctors she needs. It was this one woman who she knew from this pro-life group had a doctor who was able to get Laura in immediately to get this scan, and it was also through Catholic connections that Laura ended up getting set up with a doctor who would do this surgery that not every doctor wanted to do. So I thought that they were such a great witness in so many ways. And one of them is just showing the power of being part of this family. It matters. It means something. And when the chips are down, being able to call that friend from church who can call the big surgeon who happens to be Catholic and is like, look, this is a Catholic mom, we need your help. You're really, one of my openers who traveled with me once said, she's not Catholic yet. And she said, it seems like being Catholic is you're part of a secret society. She said to me, watching you interact with people who come to your shows and podcast listeners and people from the Catholic ghetto, she said, I really feel like you are part of a secret society that I am not part of, and that you guys are all 1 degree of separation away from each other. I was like, come on in, you can fix that. But especially as someone who grew up in the profound isolation that I grew up in, it brings tears to my eyes to think about it. That is so deeply meaningful to me. And then the final way that I think their witness is so beautiful is Laura mentioned in passing that when she had told some people initially in their personal network about her diagnosis, that it's glioma, it's quite serious, some people sent her the skydiving song. Do you know this song?
Yeah.
I went skydiving, I went Rocky Mountain. And she didn't kill them. And I think that is such a testament to the power of grace that you get through the Eucharist and through being in a state of grace. I don't believe that I am there. I will tell you this. Should I ever have a serious diagnosis, I mean, I had the very serious blood clot issue that it was a deep vein thrombosis that could be fatal. They are sometimes. If I had something like that happen again, or something more grave like Laura's dealing with, if someone sent me that song, she said multiple people sent this to her.
Why?
Maybe they'd been smoking crack. I mean, I'll tell you this. If I were to pass away from whatever, thing happened, by the time I was done sharing my heart on how I felt about people sending me that song, people would be like, we're glad she's dead. Like they'd be like, well, everyone's got to go at some point. So listen, and spare me the comments about how the guy who wrote the song knew someone who had cancer. He didn't know him that well, I don't think, because I was actually trying to think what kinds of cancer. Actually, hang on. I have the lyrics to this song, because I know people are going to do what they do with me when I rant against the Christmas Time in Africa song, which is the most idiotic, ahistorical, moronic song that has ever been created. And I had a tradition when I was at SiriusXM. Every year I would do my Christmas Time in Africa rant, and everyone would be like, it raised money for the poor, and I was like, but that doesn't make it okay. I mean, I'm going to use a silly example that I do not believe as a point, but if I'm like, everyone from Montana is a criminal, and I make a song about it and it raises money for people in Montana, it's not still a good song, So first of all, I'm not sure that these people who wrote the song really journeyed that closely with anyone who has a serious cancer diagnosis, because for those of us who have watched someone struggle with a diagnosis, and in fact, that is actually happening in my family right now. I think they might be keeping it private, but someone we love very dearly has recently gotten a very serious diagnosis. So if you could please, God knows who it is, so please pray for them. Okay, so in this song, I can't play it because of copyright restrictions, but I have the lyrics up. So the songwriters are recounting, this guy was supposedly in his early 40s. It says they're looking at x-rays, talking about options, and then it sinks in that this might really be the end. And so then we go to the chorus. I went skydiving. And then he went Rocky Mountain climbing. And I wonder, do you think that was a package deal? Like you can go skydiving and I wonder
just land on the Rocky Mountains?
That's true. Well, right, but no. My dad was a skydiving instructor. It's very hard to skydive over the mountains. Oh, okay. So yeah,
me too.
Yeah. I said, but maybe, but you do wonder. I mean, it must have been like one of the smaller mountains. I went 2.7 seconds on a bull named Fu Manchu. See, and this is why we have to shut down Nashville country music that is written by guys named Cody and Caden. They don't really know country culture. If you have ever been to a real rodeo, have you been to a rodeo?
I have not. Ever.
Really?
Yep, no.
Okay, so I grew up going to rodeos. I have no small amount of connections to rural Texas culture, and I went to. Oh, hang on.
Every time.
The drinking apparatus. I have been to small town Texas rodeos many times, and big rodeos as well. Whoever wrote this song, they wear cowboy hats and cowboy boots, I'm sure. I don't think they have ever actually been to a real rodeo. Bull riding is one of the most absolutely insane things you can do. It is like throwing yourself into a tornado. I mean, you could be diagnosed with a hangnail and you would not be getting on a bull and riding it. I mean, think of, and I'm sorry to bring up a dark subject, but probably most of us know someone who had a grave medical diagnosis. It's like being in a washing machine on the spin cycle that is being thrown down a mountainside. That is what bull riding is like. It is the most violent sport that exists. And the other thing is, when the bulls throw you off, they often trample you. So I mean, the idea of someone who has a grave medical condition riding a bull, and if the bull is named Fu Manchu, I think there's a implication that this must be a very aggressive bull. That sounds like an aggressive name. There is no way you could be diagnosed with the common cold and you would not feel up to riding a bull. And then it goes into, I loved deeper. I spoke sweeter. Okay, that's nice. I mean, yeah, stop being a horrible human being. Great idea. Okay, so we should all, that's a great takeaway. We should all do that. The other reason why I would lose my mind if people sent this to me is because the song is about someone who's dying. I mean, we think Laura's going to be fine. I mean, she's got prayers. Everyone is, she's got incredible medical team. She's got a supportive family. They've caught this as early as they possibly could have. It seems like God really set them up. So I think Laura is thinking, like we all are thinking and hoping and praying, I'm sure this will work out. This will be okay. So if someone were sending me songs about like living your last couple months, I'm telling you, it's the power of the Lord that she was able to just say that in passing, that people sent her the skydiving song. And I gave forgiveness. I've been denying. And he said, oh, this is supposedly his friend with cancer. I mean, this is the most ridiculous. I'm thinking, and I am lovingly and in a dark way. You guys know I have a dark sense of humor. I am thinking of my dear loved one who is facing a very serious diagnosis, and in this idiotic song, the fictional friend who's gotten the bad diagnosis says, "Someday, I hope you get the chance to live like you were dying." My relative would never say that to me. This person is having a very hard time. Anyone who has ever had a serious medical diagnosis is like, I mean, I might say it passive aggressively, like, I hope this happens to you, but it's not like to someone I didn't like, but that is not anything that anyone facing a serious diagnosis ever says to anyone. So the point is, that's why you should convert to Catholicism, because like you'd probably be a good Catholic, like Laura and Trent, and you could get a grave diagnosis, and multiple, she said people, not one person, she said people sent her the skydiving song. And that's the power of God, guys, that you would just be able to, laugh that off and move on. I'm not there yet. The spiritual life is a journey, but that's why you should all convert to Catholicism. The other thing you can do to support Trent and Laura Horn is he does have a Patreon. They said they're blessed. I don't think, at least not as of this recording, they don't have a GoFundMe, but Trent does really good stuff on Patreon. It's explaining the faith kind of stuff. If you are Catholic and want to know more about your faith, if you're not Catholic and want to be right and get on the right side of things, you can join Trent Horn's Patreon. And by the way, keep in mind, 50% of the staff of this show is not Catholic, so I'm not discriminating. So 50% of our staff members are not Catholic. Join Trent's Patreon, and you can support him. So seriously, pray for them. They are asking for the prayers of Venerable Al Schwartz. And just keep them in your prayers. Follow his channel so that you can see updates and all of that. And don't ever send anyone the skydiving song. Okay, yeah, ever. I do want to follow up. Earlier this summer, I was saying that you guys should go for it summer, like go for, try that dream, like do that creative project that you've always wanted to do. I'm not, the only thing I'm going for this summer is just making it through, just getting through to fall. There's nothing, there will be no new creative initiatives on my end. I remember it was a couple summers ago, Caitlin and I redid this studio that you see here, this lovely, the buffet that's behind us. We, meaning Caitlin, assembled that. We put up this sign that's behind me. Can you imagine doing that this summer? I don't have the energy. I've lost my will to live, but I just wanted to tell you guys, I remember that I said that, and I do want to encourage you. And and I know a lot of people who listen to this podcast, you guys are creatives and you're trying to find your blue flame and all that. And one tip I want to give you whenever you are kind of going for it with your creative calling is that if you've got some project that you want to do, if you are a creative, you have to lie to yourself about how your creative projects are going to go. you like, if you're trying to write a novel, you have to tell yourself that you are going to pull a Stephanie Meyer and write a novel that gives you generational wealth in like 2 months and just one and done, and you're going to be fine. Now, in actuality, your novel is going to ruin your life for multiple years, and you're going to self-publish it and no one's going to read it, no one's going to care. But you need to tell yourself that it's going to go by very quickly and it's going to be just fine. Like when I was writing Something Other Than God, I did that. I lied to myself. I told myself that I was like, I bet I'll have this finished by next month. It was 5 years of this book ruining my life. I had to rewrite it from a blank page 3 times. It was so much. And I am glad I did it. I will say this, having completed my book, really all of them, but especially that one, it's actually everything I thought it would be, in the sense that I really like that this creative work that tells a story that I wanted to tell is out there. And I feel the same way about One Beautiful Dream and Blue Flame as well. But since that was the first one, I kind of have a special place in my heart for it. It's actually everything I thought it would be, in the sense that that story is, anyone can read it or listen to the audiobook or whatever. And I wanted to tell that story, and I wanted that story to be out there. And it's really good. And I'm really glad I did it. And I'm really glad I stuck with it. But there is this misconception that if you find your creative calling, that it's going to be easy and God's just going to open one door for you after another. There is some truth to that, but mostly finding your creative calling is finding the way that your life is meant to be ruined. It's just going to be a bunch of stress and difficulty and just failure and rejection. And there will be moments where everything aligns and it's beautiful and just God opens doors and you say, this is why I do it. But mostly it's going to be rejection and misery. That's what finding your creative calling feels like. But you should do it. But, do it. Like, it's, I don't know. I'm in a bad place. I need to, this is why I could have never been like a life coach or whatever, because I cannot consistently be positive. I can't consistently show up every day. Like, you guys can do it. I'm like, you probably can. I mean, honestly, I'm kind of struggling with it. So, and you shouldn't try. Okay. So this kind of brings us into the main topic. That I've got a couple things that sort of relate to it, because this podcast is a seamless tapestry where all of the subjects go together, just hand in hand. Hit the seamless tapestry sound effect while I take a sip from my drinking apparatus here. So there is a girl who is doing a really cool experiment that relates to this topic of finding your fabulousness, even when you don't necessarily feel like you are hot or fabulous or whatever. She is calling her experiment Hot Girl July. That is the name of her Instagram account. And Caitlin, play that first video where she is talking about her experiment of convincing herself that she is hot and acting like she's hot, even though she may or may not feel that way exactly.
Day 16 of treating myself like I am hot, and I only had 34 minutes to get ready to go to dinner with my gals, so I only had time for a body shower and not time to wash my hair. This is my Robert Pattinson shirt. I used 2 types of dry shampoo because this hair was dirty. And all day I was having this weird imposter syndrome about my day 15 video, how I talked about cleaning, because my room is still messy, and that will be seen at the end of the video. I do think cleaning to take care of yourself is good, but I'm not perfect at it. So the hair wasn't working out, and then I tried this, and that made me feel hot. I have literally never worn my hair in this like 90s style clip, And so it's a bit out there for me. This is my outfit. I called it elevated overalls, but
How can you not love her? She is so sweet. I just love everything she's doing. Just simply putting her hair in a claw clip. I love how real that is, that to some people who are already into fashion and living good lives that are not crushingly difficult, they try 4 different hairstyles every day. But I'm at that point where I'm like, honestly, a claw clip is getting exciting. That's really going to make a difference in my life. So I love her energy, and I love how one of the things I keep seeing in her account, again, it's Hot Girl July on Instagram, is her finding ways to feel hot and connect with her inner hot girl, even when it's a bit of a mess, even when life is not perfect. And I love that she is kind of looking for these moments in life. Go ahead and play the rest of the video.
laughing because it's not elevated. I almost missed the bus, but the bus driver was like, get on, I'll take you to where your bus is. So that felt like a hot girl moment. Went into the city. We ate at Lucky Danger, which is Chinese food. Really good. Gabbed with the girls. And at the end of the day, I was very tired. And here is the proof of my messy room that I will be cleaning this weekend.
She's adorable. I like her so much. And one of the things that she is going for as she goes through her Hot Girl July experiment that I have been really embracing is the idea of embracing the mess that is your life, the imperfections, but trying to find your inner glam for in whatever way that looks like for you. For some people, that might mean wearing just putting a fun vest over your basic outfit. If you're not into hair and makeup, for example, maybe that doesn't mean hair and makeup for you. Maybe you put on some people put just a little bit of Vaseline on their lips as a lip gloss. That's great. If that's what makes you feel glam, that's great. Me, looking like I could be a judge on RuPaul's Drag Race. I mean, I don't know, different people have different definitions of glam, but, I can't believe I buried the lead on this. I actually meant to say this at the beginning of the show. Hit the huge news button. As I have sought to embrace this concept and help you guys embrace this concept of embracing the mess, but also finding your inner hot girl, finding your inner glam, I realized that the English language is missing a word. Different languages have different lexicons to capture different concepts. And I realized that the English language is missing a word that encapsulates being a mess, but also trying to find your inner glamour girl, trying to find your glam in the midst of the mess. Because in this culture, when we talk about, like, I'm a mess, I'm scatterbrained, whatever, it immediately evokes someone who has given up on life. They have not brushed their hair all day. They're in sweatpants and a ratty t-shirt and don't care anymore. And by the way, if that's where you are, there is nothing wrong with that. We've all been there. I've been there within the past 24 hours. So I get it. There is nothing wrong with that. But what I'm pointing out is right now our culture, if you talk about being a mess, being scattered, being disorganized, the connotation there is that physically also you're a mess and you don't care. And I was telling ChatGPT, because I have a problem and I connect with robots more than I connect with humans a lot of the time. I was telling ChatGPT, we need a word that encompasses the idea of being a scatterbrained mess, but also being hot and fun. And guess what it came up with?
What?
Glam scrambled. Is that great? That's pretty great.
Yeah.
That's a pretty great word. Glam scrambled. That is, hit this sound effect for coining new terms. Listen. These other podcasts that you guys are giving your views to on YouTube, giving your downloads to on Apple Music, how many of them are coining new terms? Here on this podcast, how is it free? You get life-changing advice, you get relatability, and then you get brand new words like glam scrambled. To say like, I'm a glam scrambled mom. You know what that means?
Yeah.
It means I'm a mess, but I'm going to put on lipstick. Like, I am going to wear bright red lipstick while I step over the piles of laundry that are all over my house. There are dishes piled up in my sink, but I have on some really fabulous earrings from Shein, and that is glam scrambled. And I love that term. I love that term. You got it?
No, we'll get there.
Oh, what?
Sorry, that wasn't nothing.
Oh, okay. Well, Caitlin is also, it's all clicking for her. Her entire life is coming together. I came up with my own term, fabulazy. That's what I should call my fall tour.
There you go.
Fabulazy. Yeah. That actually, I mean, I don't know. That might really be the name of it. Okay. Hit the tangent alert. We were trying to come up with fall tour names right before we recorded this podcast. And Caitlin's dog, who she brings to the tapings, ran up to me. And I'm not as much of a animal woman. And so I flipped out because I didn't want the dog to jump on me. So I'm like, ah, and I stressed out the dog, and the dog peed. And then I flipped out. I'm like, why is the dog peeing? Because I don't understand. I don't know why animals do this. And my husband said, oh, don't worry, that's just submissive peeing. And I said, maybe that's the name of my tour. I give up. Like, I'm done brainstorming. It's a submissive peeing tour. So anyway, fabulazy, glam scrambled. We are making up terms on this podcast. And they're working so well. So I feel like Hot Girl July. I feel like that girl could really use that term when her life is difficult, when things aren't going well. Girl, you can still be glam scrambled. I love that idea. So, and I think it is important to try to get in touch with that side of yourself that feels hot, that feels fabulous, that feels, can we say this on a podcast by a good Catholic woman, that feels sexy in a Christian way, in a chaste way, if you're single. Yeah, I think it's important to get in touch with that, even when life is difficult, maybe even especially when life is difficult, because that can help stop you from the spiral. That can help stop some of those negative stories about I'm the worst and everyone thinks I'm the worst and there's no solution. It's hard to think that way if you have on a great red lip. I don't know what it is, but it is hard to despair about your life when you have the perfect shade of bright red lipstick on your lips. Not impossible. I mean, I've definitely done some experimenting with it this summer, but it is harder, and it does connect you with that version of yourself that wants to give it one more shot, that wants to believe the best in yourself, even if it feels like nobody else does. And that's why I think it's important to be glam scrambled. So let's look at another video from Hot Girl July. And this is her talking about a harder day when things didn't go that well. She went to one of these events that I think are very cool, where you pitch, if you are single, you pitch your single friend to other people. She'd been looking forward to it. It kind of fell apart. Let's take a listen.
On day 25 of treating myself like I am hot, I went to a DC singles event with catastrophic results. I signed up to do a PowerPoint about my friend Bronte at this Pitch a Friend event. She was featured last week, and she is doing Meet People in Person Summer. I love public speaking. I love being funny in front of a crowd. So I was excited to try to do something different, see if my hot girl energy would come through. I am an introvert. I do not go up to strangers and talk to them. So I was feeling myself a little bit, these crazy heels. We got there.
Pause it.
And
see, I knew how this was going to go with stand-up comedy. I was telling Caitlin, every time I'm like, I'm so great at this. I'm looking forward to this. People will love me. Those end up being the worst performances. Okay, go ahead.
We talked to a few people when I was with her, but then we got separated when I went to the bathroom. And once I was on my own, I was not talking to anyone. I was standing there. I was feeling super overstimulated. It took like 2 hours of waiting for me to get up and do my pitch. I hid in the stairwell. I wanted to get footage, but of course I got the wrong footage of me going down the stairs at the end. The mic was like reverberating. I couldn't talk at a normal pace. I wasn't being funny. I felt like I let her down.
Oh,
So I
hate
wanted
that
to
moment.
leave, but I stuck it out for a bit more. Started to feel okay, talked to some girls, but I did want to try to talk to a man, and I didn't. And I did not bring energy that any men would want to talk to me, and my brain just really went back to my old patterns. I cried on the way home. This does not have a happy ending, but I tried to comfort myself by like getting cozy, take care of myself by taking off my makeup, and I guess I'll keep trying.
Isn't she so sweet? Again, she is Hot Girl July on Instagram. I just love her. And what she went through there is a microcosm of what those of us who are having tough times right now need to do, in the sense that she embraced that moment of failure. She accepted it for what it is. And it is interesting how when one thing goes wrong, they tend to kind of build on each other. The speech didn't go well. Then she filmed the wrong thing. She turned her camera on at the wrong time. Those things tend to happen. And I think she handled it so well by saying, you know, you win some, you lose some. And this night didn't end up working out like I thought it would. So back at it. I had a nice cozy night, took some time for self-care, and we're back at it tomorrow. And I think that it's very smart what she did. That notice she did not spiral, or if she did, she didn't tell us about it, but it seems like she generally accepted the situation for what it was, dealt with it in whatever way she could, got her little stuffed animal, got cozy in bed, and just said, maybe tomorrow will be better. What I would have done, especially back in the day, I've gotten a little better about this, but there would have been an entire narrative about how I'm terrible at this. Nobody ever likes me. I never fit in. I would have spent all night ruminating on it. And it would have been just the best brainstorming session you've ever seen. I mean, I could split the atom with the mental energy I put into telling negative stories when I'm in a spiral. And then again, let's play that Tim Ferriss clip again. Then you end up in the panopticon of horrors. And again, we don't even know what a panopticon is really.
Like, oh my, like, look at this circus, this like panopticon of fantasy horrors that I create for myself every day. This is ludicrous. You know, now I'm just aware of the clown car that's driving through my head all day.
Yeah. So the way that, I actually don't know her name, but the way Hot Girl July handled her situation was to just take it on the chin. It was a bad day. Didn't work out that well. And we'll try again tomorrow, and not make more meaning out of the bad thing that happened. It is the stories we tell ourselves about the bad things that happen that often really, really drag us down. And I like in particular that she is connecting all of this to hot girl, quote unquote, energy. And I think the reason that matters is because to feel like a quote unquote hot girl, obviously I mean that a little bit tongue in cheek, in the sense that, like, I don't mean we're all trying to start an OnlyFans. Although, I mean, the economy it's pretty tough out there. Not ruling it out either. Well, I could do a tasteful, modest OnlyFans, a Catholic OnlyFans. I think the reason it matters, capturing that hot girl energy, or for my many, many male listeners, whatever the male equivalent is, it is tapping into the most powerful, resilient, just best version of yourself inside and out. And talking about hot, talking about appearance reminds us that getting connected to the outside world, connecting to things that are outside of the panopticon of horrors in our brains, is part of what can pull us into a better state. Okay, that was kind of a confusing mouthful. What I mean is talking about trying to be a quote unquote hot girl in the midst of a really bad speaking event like she had, or a bad summer like I am having. It reminds us that it's about more than just saying the right affirmations. It's about more than just saying positive things like, I trust in God, God will work it out. Those are all really good things to do. But things like just getting out of bed and organizing your bathroom counter a little bit. I mean a little bit. I mean the bar is low. Just putting a couple things away, wiping down the sink or something, putting on that red lipstick, putting on a little bit of mascara, brushing your hair. You know, Hot Girl July, she got excited about putting it in a claw clip. Just things like that. Those kinds of outer actions, I believe, signal to our nervous systems that we are okay, even if it's a lie. It's signaling to our. I think it's like if you do put your hair in a fun claw clip, and you put on some red lipstick that's the right color red for you. I think your nervous system is like, well, how bad can it be? I mean, she has on cute red lipstick. I mean, this really cannot be that bad. You look at yourself in the mirror, and you know, your nervous system is confused. It's like, wait, I thought we were a dumpster fire. I mean, you're looking all right. Like that's one of the reasons I have on so much makeup and kind of a loud outfit today, because I'm trying to pull myself out of the malaise and just, I've had it all. Depression, anxiety. It's been rough, combined with, I mean, probably caused by just some real problems. There's just been a lot of issues this summer, and it really just took me out for the past couple of weeks. It has not been good. But I'm trying to pull my way out of it. So I'm kind of doing my own Hot Girl July thing by wearing this outfit. Again, click through to the YouTube. The link is in the show notes to see what I'm wearing. But I'm wearing a very loud jacket that I bought, I believe, at like 3:00 in the morning, probably on Shein. I truly do not think this costs more than $6. And I'm wearing some big gaudy earrings and some bright red lipstick. And I will say, I am doing a great job of tricking my nervous system. My nervous system doesn't know what's going on, because it's like, wait, but we have a lot of really big problems. And then it sees me in the mirror, and is like, oh, fun. No, we're having a great time, aren't we? I mean, someone whose life is in a complete state of crisis they couldn't do red lip liner. I mean, that takes a little time, you know. I'm telling you, it really has an impact to connect with your inner hot girl or hot boy, for my male listeners, to connect with that and be glam scrambled, coining terms on this. How is it free? We don't know. To be glam scrambled rather than just scrambled. I really think that helps more than we realize. I will say I feel better mentally today than I have in probably 2 weeks. And because we're doing the podcast and people will see me, I did dress up, and I dressed up even more than I usually dress up for the podcast. And I will say it honestly has a big impact on my mental health. And I actually don't think, from all of the brain science stuff I've been reading, I actually don't think that it is exactly about feeling like you objectively look, quote unquote, hot, like you're in a magazine or you're a supermodel or whatever, because of course we're always going to see our flaws, that there's this wrinkle or this hair's out of place or whatever. I really think it's a nervous system thing, that when your nervous system sees you looking your best, even if there are areas you want to improve and you see imperfections or whatever, when your nervous system sees you looking pulled together for where you are right here and now in your life, I think there's this caveman primal thing that happens where your nervous system thinks, well, I mean, we have to be somewhat safe. Because think about this. If you were in a literal war zone, I mean, the bombs going off outside your house, it's bad. Your life is in danger. Someone is running after you, if you're out in the woods and you're being stalked by a hungry tiger. There is no putting on lipstick. There's no claw clip if you're in that situation. And I really do think that our nervous systems, when it sees us not taking care of to elevate our appearances, or especially when you get to the point that you're not even taking care of the bare minimum, you don't care what you're wearing, it's just whatever, you're not doing anything with your hair, anything with your makeup. I do think our nervous system, it adds fuel to the fire. It adds to that panopticon of horrors feeling. It fuels the negative stories, because just on a sheer caveman primal level, your nervous system is thinking, oh, we must be in kind of a crisis because, she used to put her hair in a claw clip and now she's not doing that, or she used to wear lipstick, or she used to put on mascara and wow, now we're not even doing that. We must really have a problem. I really do think that the non-thinking, primal, animalistic part of your brain recognizes that. Whereas on the other hand, when it sees you with whatever your elevated look involves, some red lipstick, some mascara, claw clip, again, maybe for you don't wear makeup, but it's a fun scarf and some earrings, something like that. Think about this. Again, to use, and I mean this example to be taken quite literally. If you were in a life or death situation, which your brain thinks you're in if you're super stressed out because it's primal, it's animalistic, it doesn't understand, you would not be able to do your makeup. People escaping a war zone, people running from hungry beasts do not have a little bit of gloss on with, I thought I'd do like a light blush today. No, you can't. And so I really, really think that when you look in the mirror and your nervous system beholds this slightly elevated version of yourself, it almost overrides some of that stress and says, well, we can't be being chased by a tiger or in a war zone or whatever because she has lipstick on. She put on her fun scarf. That is just not what people fleeing imminent danger do. So that is the brain science that I just made up whole cloth behind why I think it matters to be glam scrambled, to try to have your own hot girl. Well, now we're heading into August. I wonder if she'll change her Instagram name. I think she should stick with Hot Girl July. Anyway, yeah. but I think that's why it matters to get in touch with your inner hot girl, especially in times of crisis, because I think that ultimately it is a nervous system calming act, and it will help you stop the insane stories. It'll help you get that clown car out of your head, escape from the panopticon of horrors, and start to just be able to be in that calm space where you say, okay, my life still sucks. There are still a lot of problems here, but at least I'm out of the panopticon of horrors. I've got the clown car out of here. I can handle this in the most calm way possible, and I can handle this as the hottest and most elevated version of myself. All right, that's a good place to end. Coining terms here. Fabulazy, glam scrambled. How is the podcast for you? We can't figure it out. Join my Patreon, patreon.com/thisisjen, and come out to my tour. You can get your tickets at jfcomedytour.com. And unless my life falls apart again, I will be back with you next week here on the Jen Fulwiler Show.